You can always earn more money. What you can't earn is more time. One of the goals that I mentioned for the channel is to try to get myself more time back. And I think this is something that we all struggle with. We all have responsibilities. We all have jobs. But over time, I've started to take some minimalism and stoicism principles really to heart. Saving a few minutes here and there can really add up to a lot of time in the aggregate. They can also really help on the mental health front. I've spoken to a lot of people who've expressed finding difficulty in making time to do the things that they want to do. So here are 7 things that I do to save myself some time and preserve my mental health. Number 1, waking up early. Even when I don't have to be, I'm up early. A lot of this is habitual. For years, I ran a coffee shop that opened at 5 a.m., so I had to be up at 4. A part of me is just used to getting up early. Even when I'm on vacation, I'm pretty much the first person that's going to be awake, and I kind of like it. Being awake before everyone allows me the chance to get some me time. Uninterrupted time to myself where I can read, have a slow cup of coffee, watch a few YouTube videos. Basically, calibrate my day. Now, contrary to what my wife will tell you, I am not a morning person. I'm kind of like a car in the winter where I need to have the key turned and warm up for a little while before I'm even remotely pleasant. Getting up early allows me to be in the best possible mood to take on my day. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Are you meant to stay in bed, or are you meant to get out there and do the work of a human being?" Who am I to argue with Marcus Aurelius? I also use this time to plan my day, which brings me to point number 2, using a calendar or other organization app. I used to fancy myself a free spirit who wouldn't be tied down to an agenda. A former job I had taught us a class on planning, and at the end of the session, they gave us a really nice agenda system. I used that Franklin Covey system for years. However, I eventually realized that I was carrying a better option in my pocket. Now, what I do is I use my calendar app, reminders apps, and things like that to plan out my day. And when I say plan, I don't mean that I schedule out every little possible block of time. I don't have every second accounted for to maximize productivity. I put in the broad strokes of my day, along with any appointments or special events. I use recurring events to keep me on task for regular things, like every week or so when I go do the podcast with my friends. Doing this allows me not only to be more present, but also to not forget the things that I have coming up. It also allows me to get things done, which in and of itself is a huge sense of relief. Number 3, limiting myself to a few big tasks a day. Now, I mentioned that I don't account for every second. I also don't try to be unrealistic about what I can get accomplished in a day. Remember the Pareto principle from a couple of videos back? If 80% of my results result from 20% of my activity, that allows me to accomplish the necessary and to free up the time. This can be used in the service of things that actually make me happy and make me better than the day I was before. Perfection should never be the enemy of the good. I recently heard that in our push from 0 to 100, we often forget 0 to 1. Incremental progress really does matter. Focusing on a few things and doing those things well allows us to build in resilience to the things that we do, along with what results from it. I will usually plan for no more than 3 to 5 big tasks in a day. I focus on those tasks that have the biggest impact. Most emergencies, remember, aren't. Even most urgent things aren't. The world will go on even if I don't hit reply immediately. Which brings me to my next time saver, and a more recent one. Number 4, turning off notifications. I catch myself far too often watching a movie and then checking my phone so much that I have no idea what's going on. Have you ever been at dinner with a group of friends and you all have your phones face down on the table? What about the random flood of notifications that someone has commented or liked your post? I recently did myself the favor of turning off all social media notifications. I also use focuses on my phone to sort of build myself time where I can be more intentional. When I'm at work, only my wife and my mother can contact me. When I'm away from work, nobody from work can contact me. When I'm reading, creating, being mindful, no one is allowed to break that up. And you know what's funny? The world still goes on. It's beautifully humbling. The internet didn't crash because I didn't pay attention to how many likes I got on a post. It's also saved me a ton of time because now when I actually go into a social media app, I might have 10 notifications, but I'm able to go through those really quickly, engage in what's necessary, leave the app, and not worry about it. I doom scroll a lot less. There's a lot less clickbait in my life and a lot less of those posts that quite frankly, I can't be bothered with. I have better conversations when I'm on social media. I'm more present with the people that are most important to me. Less digital competition for my attention has been a remarkably freeing experience. Number 5, setting time limits. We've also talked about Parkinson's law before. Basically, a task will take up the time that you allow for it. In addition to eliminating notifications, I actually set time limits for the tasks that I have to do. I only allow myself a certain time on social media each day. I can override this, but I have to be very intentional about it. I find that I haven't had to do that very often. It's not just social media, it's really for any task. I think of how long it will take me to complete it, and I allow that time for it. And what you're gonna find is you might not finish what you have to accomplish, but it's okay because you can find time to pick it up where it left off. I often find that the quality of my work improves when I do this, and most of the time, I am able to get what I've set out done. At first, this entire process can produce a little bit of anxiety. It's like, oh, will I get something done? Will I have enough time to do all the things that I need to? This quickly fades as you realize the amount of things you're actually accomplishing. Things don't immediately fall apart when you don't give them your complete attention. Number 6, multitasking. Whenever I can, I use idle time to get other things done. If I'm waiting for my coffee to finish brewing, I'll sort out my calendar for the rest of the day. Driving to work, I'll listen to an audiobook. I never really thought I'd be a fan of audiobooks, honestly, but I listen to podcasts and it's kind of the same thing. It allows me to learn about subjects when I'd otherwise be using the time to do different things. It's also a really good cure for road rage. I use Audible for this, and if you'd like to use my affiliate link in the description down below, you can do a free trial of it and see if it's something for you. Repurposing that time for those things that you didn't think you had time for anymore really does allow you to reconnect with other things. I find myself using some of that idle time that I've produced to play video games again, which I used to love growing up, or reading more books, or connecting with friends that I haven't talked to in a while. I'll often use the time that I'm doing laundry or cleaning to listen to music. Batching tasks can allow you to take things you were normally going to do anyway, put them together, and give you spare moments to put in your time savings account. Number 7, saying no. This is a hard one, dare I say controversial. I know, a bit of advice I recently heard from another creator on YouTube was to say hell yeah or nah. Basically, if your reaction to something isn't overwhelming excitement, maybe the universe is trying to tell you to say no. Here's the thing, you might miss out on some really good things, but you're gonna open yourself up to some really wonderful experiences that you might not otherwise have had time for. Things that challenge your status quo. See, I think there's a difference between tradition and habits. Sometimes habits can be almost ruts. And as we get older, we'll expand the amount of people that we know. As our world gets more heavily populated, it's impossible for us to evenly divide the time between all the residents of our corner of the world. Focus on memorable experiences with those people. Quality, not quantity. It's fine to have a favorite place to go every week. Make more places and things favorites, though. I run into this problem with travel. As you may have noticed, I'm a bit of a Francophile. France is kind of where I feel like I belong, particularly in Paris. Mostly, it's because my wife and I want to move there within the next decade or so. As it is, we're already planning to go back to France next April. And in a few years, we're planning to take my father, who has never left the country, to visit the beaches of Normandy. However, there's a whole rest of the world that I want to see. The same can be true of the places we live. Don't be afraid to try out new things. Try the new place that just opened up. Bring some friends there. Do something you haven't done. And also, don't be afraid to turn down invitations. I used to have a habit of trying to overbook things, trying to please everyone, trying to do it all. You can't. Don't try. So now I focus on making those memorable moments. Even if it's just having lunch and talking to a friend that I haven't seen in a month for 3 hours. Try to make those moments a lot more poignant. Often friends like that, you can just pick up the conversation as though you never left it. So those are just some of the ways that I try to save myself some time, take back a little bit more of my sanity. We also have to welcome aboard 2 new patrons, Jose Sosa and Richie Toulier, who joined, Anthony Spano, and Derek Maurice. If you'd like to join Patreon or contribute as a patron, please use the link in the description down below. And as always, please like, subscribe, and comment on these videos. Use my Amazon affiliate links in the description. Help me grow this community. Thank you guys for stopping by again this week. I'll see you next week for another chat. Take care. You guys are wonderful and beautiful, and thank you so much for your support.